Hi friends, I'm here at the stunning sun-soaked paradise of Marbella, Spain. This magical spot with its serene beaches and tranquil vibe feels like the perfect place to introduce someone very special. Emily Rivera, known as the Angel Coach. Emily has an incredible gift for guiding us through life's twists and turns with a gentle spiritual touch. In today's video, she'll be sharing how to connect with our higher selves, find inner peace, and gracefully embrace the journey of life. Whether you're seeking spiritual guidance or just curious how to bring more peace and clarity to your life, Emily's insights are sure to inspire you. So take a moment for yourself, get cozy, grab a cup of tea, and join us as we dive into this heartfelt and soul-nourishing conversation. I can't wait for you to hear what Emily has to say.
Our bodies have been designed to dance in this life, literally to dance, to respond to challenge. You're going to move into a place and space that you get to really look at life and say, wow, life is really happening for me. You're not meant to go back to who you were. You're not. Whenever any of us move into realigning ourselves, moving into our true nature, we move into healing, inevitably we bless everyone beyond ourselves, right? We bless generations that have been and are in our past, and we've also get to bless the ones that are part of our journey right now, and then beyond that, right? Those future generations. Because we are, thank you. And by the way, I'm going to say thank you when I hear the angels and I hear guidance. So that's why I'm saying thank you. But they're audibly saying that inevitably, as women, we are way showers. We've been seeded and anointed with the ability to be way showers. And yes, the masculine is also able to do that, but we show up and deliver it in different ways. And regardless of your age, regardless of your history, regardless of what you have been or haven't been, there is something that has been seeded. There's something that's been anointed and given to you directly. I like to celebrate that we are all focal points for the divine to express itself. And you have uniquely been given your signature. You've uniquely been given your story, your journey, who you are. Thank you. And they're audibly saying, as I am. It's like that idea. As I am is exactly who I need to be to move into that delivery. So regardless of age, regardless of what's happening and unfolding, all of us have been blessed with that. And anytime any of us move into healing, we heal generations, which is why as you heal the women, you will heal the children. We carry life through our bodies, whether you had children or not. You've been seeded with a womb, and because we've been seeded, each of us, with the womb or the space for it. I've had ladies ask, what if I've had it removed? Doesn't matter. We've been seeded with that space, and we've been anointed with the ability to create beyond ourselves. We were all very interconnected, and it was this beautiful reflection how beyond this physical body that we're in, we are walking each other home. Regardless of how people show up, regardless of what we get to see in the physical, there is this unification, thank you, that goes beyond the physical reality we see. It gives us an opportunity to see more of what we're hoping to see, right? More joy, more peace, more connection, more collaboration, more forgiveness, more of a union versus a separation, because that's a little bit of what I like to call the programming that we've been all put through. It's like in the forgetting. All of us move into the pivotal moments in our lives. And women, especially, right, in certain ages, it's sometimes we may feel this transition, and the transition can feel overwhelming because it's like, who am I now, right? Maybe the kids are out of the house and they don't need you the same way. Maybe your partner is not there anymore, or the relationship has changed, right? It's like the body's changing. The way we feel about ourselves is changing, right? There's so many things that happen within the unfoldment, right? Involving this human experience. But thank you. And what they're audibly saying, it's like all of us have these beautiful opportunities that are pivotal into reclaiming our true identity. And a lot of times, and this is the gift of it, is that confusion, that disillusionment, that sadness, that uncertainty that you're feeling is helping you to know that the identity and who you've been has been outgrown. That you move into a phase, and a beautiful phase, of getting a chance to see that your life is being called, or thank you, they're saying that we're destined, that you're destined to be more than what you've been. And part of this beautiful stage that women go through is this deeper yearning of remembering, this deeper yearning into understanding that life can be different. And it's like a wake-up call. And yes, for the human, it can feel very uncomfortable and confusing, but it's also an opportunity for us to, and they're showing me this vision of a woman like sharing all these other clothing items, right? It's like we pick up, I like to say we borrow, right? We borrow expectations. We borrow who we need it to be for the kids. We borrow who we need it to be for our spouses and our partners and our business and our work. Like we borrowed all these things, and we women at this stage are at a place where they get to say, what have I been borrowing and sharing for way too long? And you ask yourself, well, what do I do now at this stage? It starts by saying, what can I let go of now? Right? This has been too heavy. The weight has been too much. Now I can let it go. And the thing that's so beautiful is that our body communicates that as it's going through its transition. It's helping us surrender. And unfortunately, we try to hold on to so much of what we've borrowed. We try to stay in our own identity, and we notice the resistance. But the truth is that our body, our thoughts, our emotions are going through a dance. And the dance is inviting us to pretty much let go of what is no longer needing to be carried through the next phase of our remembering. We're at a place and at that stage of life that we have access to wisdom, right? We get to step into an experience that it's not just about me, right? It's not just about thyself. Thank you. We move from the I to the we, right? There's a yearning for more. There's a yearning for, thank you, they're audibly saying craving, right? There's a craving to experience more of life. And it is a beautiful place to be, even though it doesn't feel that way always. But it begins, the first step that you can take if you're there is, what have I borrowed along the way that I can now set aside? What have I borrowed along the way that is no longer part of what I'm choosing to carry? And this is an important word, choose, right? What am I choosing to let go? What am I choosing to surrender? What am I choosing to now allow myself to be? We move into these thoughts and conversations and illusion that, okay, what must I do now? Versus allowing the experience to move through us as it's already destined and intended to move through us. And it goes back to this beautiful recognition of the feminine. The true nature of the feminine has already awakened into owning and understanding that we dance through it. And I know I mentioned a little bit about the 7 rays of consciousness. I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about this now, because when you said intentionality, that's one of the first stages that we teach, and is the queen, owning your queen. And what that means is that the queen within her feminine knows that her intentions matter, her decisions matter. What I like to say are hell yeses matter. And it's very significant for us to move into a place where we get clear about what that would look like, what that is, right? Outside of anybody else's opinion. Because what tends to happen, especially for women, because it's part of the programming of what's been downloaded for women, is like, how do I conform, or how do I fit in, or how, because we've been blessed with the desire to be more in community, right? We feed off each other. We know that we can thrive together and can experience life a lot fuller in community versus on our own. And for those that have experienced life on their own and have pushed through their own, it's because they've been allowing the masculine to lead more the way. So let's reframe this, right? Because languaging is very important,
Yes.
right? And there's nothing wrong with independence. Independence is also part of the feminine. It's about pulling away from the experience that has been part of the feminine, which is understanding, is finding the right community that can help you be seen, that can help you feel supported, that can help you feel understood. You can be independent through that, right? Because thank you, and they're audibly saying with different traditions, and I know they're saying cultures, and I recognize that happens in my own culture. I'm from Puerto Rico, is that if you can't put your guard, you got to be strong. You have to, like, it's like the need of needing anyone is not something you should even admit, or, it's like, but it's moving outside of that illusion that I must be alone and doing it on my own, but instead moving into, wow, life has designed itself where I am destined to receive. I'm destined to be supported. I'm destined to move into who I am and be in independence of it. but also know that there is this resource available beyond what I can see that can guide me and support me, not just through the angels, through spirit, but through community, through sisterhood. And that there is this inherent resourcefulness that awakens within me and activates within me, within the feminine, that will pull me, that will speak to me, that will guide me on how to best do that. You're not meant to go back to who you were. You're not. And who you are going to, and my voice is changing, so I really need all of you to hear this, is that who you are being called to upgrade into is more auspiciously delicious than you've ever experienced. It's about understanding that you're going to move into a place and space that you get to really look at life and say, wow, life is really happening for me. Life is really about me leaning in and dancing. That's the thing that's so beautiful of the feminine. You don't have to be great at dancing, but our bodies have been designed to move. Our bodies have been designed to move our hips. That doesn't mean you need to go out dancing. That is not what I'm saying. But literally, our bodies have been designed to dance in this life. Literally to dance, to respond to challenge, so that we can thrive through chaos, regardless of what shows up. The beautiful vehicles that we're in, regardless of the size, regardless of the shape, regardless of what has happened or hasn't happened, has been anointed with the ability to dance. All of us are here on purpose, more than ever, more than our ancestors, more than our past. Like, you came into this lifetime deciding that in this life, I will remember. In this life, I will own more of myself. In this life, I will experience more joy. In this life, I will own today that I'm able to create and design a life that I get excited about, that I'm passionate about, that I get to move into the joy that reminds me, like, thank God I'm alive right now. And the reason I know that is because that's where we're at collectively. All of us are here at a time where we've been given a different permission when it comes to our human experience. And part of that permission is that you get to remember more of who and what you are, and you get to experience life without everything that you borrowed. You get to let all that go. A lot of times what happens is that, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it, but I've done it. We move into programs that have been passed down. We move into thoughts and conversations and ideas that we learned from our mothers, that we learned on TV, that we learned in our expectations of what should happen to our bodies. My body is so resourceful that it moves through this stage of my life with grace and ease. My body is so resourceful that I'm actually activating more passion, more euphoria, more joy, more playfulness. It's so resourceful that my body and my joints feel an ease and movement. I crave intimacy. I crave love. I crave the play. Right? It's like moving into deciding what happens now. What happens now? So that's the queen. Then you're going to move, right? You're going to move into your innocence. The innocence is that awe and wonder. It means that you're open to the unknown. You're open to seeing things looking different. So then you implement, what can I do to add more awe and wonder in my day as I anchor this new decision? So that could be playing music. That could be something I do every day. I watch funny videos for at least 10 minutes before I go to bed. I feed my happy, right? How do I feed my happy? That's it. How do I feed my happy? So that the intention is anchored through the journey of joy, through the journey of happy, feeding the happy. And then we move into the sorceress. The sorceress is that you're walking magic. You are literally walking your legs, your magic on legs, right? So what happens with that? You open to life, the magic. You open to your body, activating the magic, right? So it's not doing it. No, it's magic happens, miracles happen, changes happen, right? Something else takes over and it's done for you. It's done through you. It's done as you, right? You move into the magic of things. Then you move into, what's the next one? We move into, sorry, because they're flashing something else and I'm like, we're not there yet. We'll get there. We'll get there. Then you move into your pearl, right? that your body is a healing container, that you're the healer. You're the healer that you've been waiting for. You are the medicine. The medicine is you. It's not about seeking the medicine externally through somebody else or through certain things. You are the medicine. Thank you. You're the sacred pharmaceutical is what they just said. All right. So then you move into that. And then you move into, they're saying, I'm going to have to skip to Freya. And I don't even know. Freya is that part of the seductress. All right. And I'm skipping because they're telling me I need to skip to that. So then there's the seductress, which is actually the ray that we're covering this month for in the feminine code in the sacred garden. The seductress is that part of you that you're magnetic, right? You get to have this and that. You get to be happy and abundant. You get to have love and abundance and success. You get to have, and it's not about choosing. The woman has been programmed to choose this or that, right? Success or children, health or career. No, it's an and. It's an and. And she knows that in her magnetism, in her seduction, in her passion, in her ability to feed her own yumminess and her deliciousness, she attracts anything and everything and people and opportunities and things just show up. It's not about figuring it out. What am I going to do next? What am I here to do? You get to witness how it shows out. Opportunities show up, conversations show up, doors open up where you're like, oh, wow, this is my next. This is where I get to go play. This is what I get to lean into. If something is important and they're audibly saying this is, I love that you're bringing this up because this is not you. This is it. If you have all those emotions, that's not you. That's not the real you. That's who you've been programmed to be. That's who you've borrowed. You literally think about it. You're walking around with somebody else's costume. You're walking around with somebody else's dirty dress. You're walking around with somebody else's dirty wig. Like you literally are, that's not your nature. That's not who you are. So all these things that you're sharing with me are, if this is moving for any of you, I just want you to know that's great. It served you to today. It served you to today. And my conversation in this invitation is you are being called home. You're being called home to be authentically you. That's not authentically you. That's just who you've borrowed. We literally walk around with masks and we walk around, again, wearing other people's dirty clothes. They're telling me to say it that way. We walk around like most of us would never do that. Most of us wouldn't want to walk around with anybody dirty. I wouldn't. But we do it. We do it with our belief. We do it with our expectations. We do it with what it is that we say we're worthy of receiving or not receiving. It's what we do. And that's why the queen is the first step into understanding that all that you need to do is decide. I'm deciding right now for you to just show me there is something better. It's like that decision. And I hear it. I've asked this question. I've asked it since I was young, and I've heard it from people all the time. If we're always being guided and supported, why isn't it done for us? Why isn't this just happening for us? Because we are in a world of duality. The human gift that we have, and we all wanted it in our soul level. We're like, I want to have free will. I want to get to decide what I want, what I don't want, what's a hell yes, what's a hell no. I get to decide. That is part of the agreement. Sign the dot. If that's an agreement, then fine. I'll go ahead and have a human experience. We all wanted that built authority over our life. We all wanted that. And then we're waiting for something to slap us across the face and be like, here, I'll do it for you. We'll take care of this. We'll make it happen. If you have a belief and an expectation that something needs to be a certain way, even if it's hidden from your human mind, even if it's hidden from the conscious ability to pinpoint it and point it out, you are going to manifest that. You are going to be only that. That's just how the brain works. Thank you. And they're saying quantum physics is, they're audibly, and they do. And by the way, I'm going to trust we're not going to go into it because sometimes they'll talk quantum physics and they're giving me words I don't even know what it means. So I'll have to Google as I'm talking to people. But they're telling me quantum physics is also proving this theory. So if you're more logical, I think that's exciting to celebrate is that there is data out there that you can look at and actually see how we are able to change our DNA. We're able to change the physical anatomy of our physical being. And it's not just metaphysical, it's not just spiritual. There's science proof behind what happens when we move into certain expectations and belief systems. And again, the reticular brain, just more on a superficial level, right? It's if we have something known and unknown that we are holding on as an expectation and belief, we will find it. We will find it. I just had this conversation yesterday with someone. The angels taught me this since middle school in science class. They would say to me as I'm doing things and experiments, they would say to me, everything can be proven right. They would say that to me. It's interesting in the human perspective where we're like, let's just prove it. Everything can be proven right, because when someone holds on, and we know that, right, in science experiments, that's why they have the observer effect, right? It's like the observer can impact the results of a science experiment. So with the logical part of it, it's a look at your life. What is happening in your life? The good, the bad, the beautiful, the ugly. What is part of the recipe? Thank you. What's the what is your recipe giving you right now? And if there's things in your life that you're not happy with, or they're not going the way that you would like them to go, it's about just stepping back and saying, what's the recipe I've been using? My voice is changing. What's the recipe in my human? What are the thoughts that I've been having? What are the emotions? What are the expectations? What have I borrowed? I always like to say, what have you borrowed? Because it's a lot easier for us as humans to be like, oh yeah, my mom was like that, or my dad had that expectation, or I learned that from a teacher. It's easier for us to sometimes look at other people versus ourselves. And it's what have I borrowed? So we look at the recipe, and then even the energetics of what is in the recipe. And what I mean by that is that, how do you feel energetically every time you think about your body? Do you drop? Do you go up? What is it? And if you notice that your energy drops when you think about your body, when you think about a lover, when you think about a beloved and a relationship and what's possible, if your energy drops, then there's something in your recipe that is letting you know it's not possible. And the reality is that the truth is that it is destined and it is possible. And I say this to everyone. If you've been seeded with the desire of a beloved, if you've been seeded with the desire of a partner, it's because it is done. The angels prove this to me over and over. If it's been seeded, it is done. It's about you and your human staying on the path that will allow you to experience it. We don't get played with. We get seeded what is possible. And I have met many people who don't have that desire, right? And many of you would be like, everybody wants to have someone to love and be. No, there are people out there who don't have that desire. And the reason this is important here, because people will be like, oh, everybody wants it. It's you're talking yourself out of receiving it because it's something everybody wants, and it doesn't mean everybody's going to get it. You're right, not everybody's going to get it, because there's, unfortunately, with our wounding and our history, there's a lot of people who have been trained to believe that you must be worthy to be loved. You must earn your ability to be loved. And the fallacy, thank you, yes, the fallacy within that is that all of us have been born worthy of a beloved. Sometimes the best way to know is to decide how you will know. Because sometimes it's like we're in it. We wait till we're in it to then decide, is this my ego or is this intuition? Why not just begin now, if you're open to it, deciding, spirit, soul, universe, this is how I'm going to open into seeing that this is it. You have to own and decide, life is always working out for me. I am always being guided into the momentum moving forward. I'm always being pulled into the right momentum, because you are unconsciously and unintentionally inviting to be off track or to notice when you're off track. I know it sounds different, but the angels have taught me this very clearly. So you got to focus your intentions to what will support what you've decided as a queen. So when I say to you or invite for the angels to help you notice their scent, is because you're asking to notice people's true intentions beyond the physicality. You want to smell people's true intentions, right? So that's why the scent is a powerful. How many of us, right, when we're about to eat something, if it stinks, we literally disgust it, right? There's no questioning. Maybe they were sweaty. Maybe, no, it's like we're disgusted. And it's not because the person isn't good, but we're getting to see people's true intentions beyond the mask. So that would be my encouragement. Okay. But owning that you're always on track, because the irony is that if you're always on track and you're always on the right momentum, you're going to easily be able to decipher when someone is in a match. Right? So when that level of ownership is owned, you could very easily decipher when someone is in a match. So that's one thing I want to throw in there. And relationships is a very interesting conversation. And I've done twin flame events, I've done soulmate events. I've now stepped into, when I teach about it, I talk about the cosmic flame, which is different, which is a whole different conversation. We can't get it. Maybe we could do this in another show, but that's a different conversation, how to really align to a cosmic flame, which is different. But when it comes to relationship, and this is where it can be interesting, is that there are people we're destined to meet along the way. Some of those people are not destined to be our forever, but they're destined to cross our paths because they have a key to give us. What does that mean? These people are going to help us unlock more of who and what we are. And they need to cross our path. We need to take that key, right? It needs to unlock us. And in the human experience, we make this decision like, only if it's going to work, only if it's my forever, only if it's going to be this, are you allowed into my field of reality, right? But we forget that we are in a human experience in which we've decided to meet souls along the way to help us move into our alignment, into our overflow, and into our destiny and our purpose. And we will get keys. We're destined to give keys to other people as much as we're meant to receive them. So whoever's listening to this, by the way, they're saying we need to speak to them. So let me go back to something that everybody needs to hear. If you're alive and you're breathing, there's more to you. You are no accident. You being here right now alive is no accident. There's more to you. Your history, your past, your yesterday, your this morning, that is irrelevant to your tomorrow. You today decide. You today get to claim. You today get to move into more of who and what you are. It's okay if you don't know what it is. It's okay if you're uncertain. It's okay if you're confused. We, in this human experience, all go through it. I've been there. We've all been there. And the thing that's so beautiful, that's part of the breakthrough. These arrivals are part of your breakthrough. So you're right on time. So if you're feeling all these things, and that was part of your yesterday and part of this morning for you, wherever it is you're listening to this, you're right on target. You're right on time. Because in this moment, you get to decide, it's my breakthrough right now. I get to be more. And if you don't know what that more looks like, it's okay. Move into deciding, I am choosing to be shown. I am choosing to be guided. I am choosing. And they're audibly saying, I'm choosing to be promoted. I like that. You're choosing to be promoted beyond your yesterday. Promotion, right? You're choosing to be upgraded beyond your yesterday. And in that decision, you also have to decide, I am choosing to be worthy of receiving the help. I'm choosing to let myself be worthy of the help. One thing that I always say is I'm choosing to be ready, willing, open, and available. Ready, open, willing, and available. I just changed it up a little bit. Sorry about that. All right. Because it covers many different angles. One of the things they just taught in the Sacred Garden is that idea that God has multiple perspectives. And in our human experience, sometimes we embrace one perspective, meaning, look at this bottle. It has so many different ways that we can look at it. And we move into our human experience and we are looking at something through this. Oh, this is what I see. This is what's possible. But from God's perspective, there's this side, there's that side, there's that side, there's that view. There's so many views to what you're going through. So whatever it is you're going through, it's okay because you're getting to see one perspective. So when you ask for help and you ask to see what else is possible, you open up to a holistic 360 experience, which allows different perspectives. And what happens? When you open up to so many different perspectives, anything can happen. Everything can happen, right? And that's when we get to witness miracles in our lives, in our bodies, in our relationships, in our finances, and anything and everything that we are asking for a positive change.